I woke up after 3 days in the hospital expecting to see messages from my husband. Instead, I found a bank alert showing nearly $9,000 charged to my credit card for a luxury cruise. I thought it was fraud, until I discovered the people enjoying that vacation were my own husband and family. Before we begin, welcome to Revenge with Emma, the home of unforgettable stories of betrayal, family drama, and satisfying revenge where the truth always comes out. If you enjoy emotional stories with shocking twists and powerful endings, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, let's dive into today's unbelievable story. My name is Emily Carter, and until that week, I truly believed I had a happy life. I was 34 years old and worked as a senior accountant for a construction company. The job was demanding, but it gave my husband, Daniel, and me a comfortable life. We owned a small house in a quiet neighborhood, had no children yet, and often talked about starting a family in the near future. Daniel and I had been married for almost 8 years. Everyone around us thought we were the perfect couple. He was charming, friendly, and always knew how to make people laugh. Whenever friends visited our home, they would tell me how lucky I was to have such a caring husband. I smiled every time I heard those words because I believed them too. Then there was my family. My mother, Linda, my younger sister, Sophie, and my younger brother, Mark, had always depended on me whenever they faced financial problems. Whether it was paying a bill, fixing a car, or covering an unexpected expense, I was always the first person they called. I never complained because I believed that's what family was supposed to do. When someone you love needs help, you help them. I never imagined that my kindness would one day become something they expected instead of appreciated. Daniel even had a joke he loved repeating whenever my phone rang. "There goes the family bank again," he would laugh. I laughed with him every single time. I had no idea he wasn't joking. Everything changed one rainy Tuesday morning when I woke up with a sharp pain in my stomach. Within an hour, Daniel rushed me to the emergency room. After several tests, the doctors told me I needed emergency surgery. As they prepared me for the operation, Daniel held my hand and softly said, "Don't worry, Emily. I'll take care of everything while you get better." Those were the last words I heard before the anesthesia pulled me into darkness. When I finally opened my eyes 3 days later, I believed my biggest battle was over. I couldn't have been more wrong. My real nightmare was only just beginning. The room felt strangely quiet as I slowly reached for my phone. My body was sore, my head felt heavy, and every movement reminded me that I had just gone through surgery. I expected to see dozens of messages from Daniel asking how I was feeling or telling me he couldn't wait to bring me home. Instead, my screen was filled with bank notifications. One charge after another. My heart skipped a beat as I read the largest one. $8,946.72, Ocean Paradise Luxury Cruises, payment approved. I blinked several times, convinced I was still under the effects of the medication. There had to be a mistake. I had never booked a cruise. In fact, I hadn't even left my hospital bed in 3 days. Trying to stay calm, I immediately called the bank. After verifying my identity, the customer service representative reviewed the transaction. "I'm sorry, Ms. Carter," she said politely. "According to our records, your physical credit card was used at the cruise terminal yesterday." I frowned. "My physical card?" "Yes, ma'am." "That's impossible," I replied. "I've been in the hospital since before yesterday." There was a brief silence on the line. Then she asked gently, "Do you still have the card with you?" I opened my purse, expecting to see it exactly where I always kept it. The card wasn't there. My stomach dropped. Someone hadn't just stolen my money. They had taken my card while I was unconscious. The nurse standing nearby noticed the look on my face and asked if everything was all right. I explained what had happened. She looked confused. "I remember your husband signing for your personal belongings the day after your surgery," she said. "He told us he wanted to organize everything before you came home." Daniel. My own husband. The man who had promised to take care of everything. My hand started shaking as I called him. He answered after a few rings. "Hey, sweetheart," he said casually. "I'm at work. Can I call you later?" Something about his voice felt different. Too relaxed. Too confident. I took a deep breath. "Daniel," I said quietly, "my credit card is missing." There was a pause. Then he laughed softly. "You probably misplaced it." I checked my purse. "Maybe the hospital staff moved it." His answer didn't sound worried. It sounded rehearsed. Then I asked the question that changed everything. "Where are you working today?" "The office," he answered without hesitation. Just then, I heard waves crashing in the background, followed by loud music. And someone laughing as they shouted, "Welcome aboard." I closed my eyes. That wasn't an office. That was a cruise ship. Without saying another word, I ended the call. My hands were trembling, but this time it wasn't because I was afraid. It was because I was beginning to understand something I never thought possible. Someone hadn't simply stolen my credit card. Someone I trusted had planned this. And deep down, I already knew the truth. I just wasn't ready to face how many people were involved. I sat quietly in my hospital room, staring at my phone. My heart wanted to believe there had to be another explanation. Maybe I had misunderstood. Maybe Daniel really was at work, and the sounds I heard were just a coincidence. But my mind knew better. I opened social media, hoping to prove myself wrong. Instead, I found the truth. The very first post was from my younger sister, Sophie. She was standing on the deck of a beautiful cruise ship with the ocean stretching behind her. She was holding a glass of sparkling juice and smiling as if she didn't have a care in the world. The caption read, "Finally, our dream family vacation begins. So many amazing memories ahead." I stared at the picture in disbelief. Then I swiped to the next photo. There was my mother, Linda, smiling beside the swimming pool. The next picture showed my brother, Mark, relaxing on a lounge chair. Then came the photo that completely broke me. Daniel, my husband, standing beside my family with a huge smile on his face. The same man who had told me he was at work. I couldn't stop the tears from falling. While I was lying in a hospital bed recovering from surgery, they were enjoying luxury dinners, live shows, and ocean sunsets using my money. Not one of them had even asked how I was feeling. Not one of them seemed to care that I was alone. For several minutes, I simply stared at those pictures. Then something inside me changed. The sadness disappeared. In its place came something much stronger. Determination. I called Daniel one more time. This time, he answered with obvious frustration. "What now, Emily?" I didn't raise my voice. I simply asked one question. "How's the cruise?" Silence. Complete silence. When he finally spoke, his voice sounded nervous. You saw the pictures?" "Yes." "It's not what you think." I almost laughed. "So explain it." Daniel took a deep breath. The trip was already planned. Everyone had been saving for months. Then why was my card used? He hesitated. "We were short on money." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So you stole my credit card while I was unconscious?" "No," he quickly replied. "We were going to pay you back." "When?" "After the trip." I shook my head. "You never even asked me." "We knew you'd say no." Those words hurt more than everything else. They knew it was wrong. They knew I would never agree. So they waited until I couldn't stop them. That wasn't a mistake. That was a plan. After ending the call, I contacted the bank again and officially reported every unauthorized charge. The representative assured me that an investigation would begin immediately. Next, I changed every password connected to my bank accounts, credit cards, and online payments. Then I called an attorney. After listening carefully, he asked me to save every text message, every social media post, and every bank notification. "They've already given you most of the evidence," he said. For the first time since waking up, I smiled. They thought they had pulled off the perfect vacation. They had no idea they had also built the perfect case against themselves. And when that cruise finally returned to shore, their dream vacation was about to become their worst nightmare. 3 days later, I was finally discharged from the hospital. My body was still healing, but my mind had never been clearer. Instead of going home, I met my attorney. We spent nearly 2 hours reviewing every piece of evidence. The hospital records showed that I was under medical care when the cruise payment was made. The bank confirmed that my physical credit card had been used without my permission. The text messages from Daniel admitted they had planned to pay me back later. And my family's social media posts proved exactly where they had been while I was recovering. My attorney looked at me and smiled. "They've made this surprisingly easy." That sentence gave me a peace I hadn't felt in days. I didn't want revenge fueled by anger. I wanted justice. Over the next week, I quietly rebuilt my life. I opened new bank accounts. I canceled every shared credit card. I changed every password. Then I legally removed Daniel from every account connected to my finances. He didn't notice a thing. He was still enjoying his vacation. Then the cruise returned to port. Within an hour, my phone started ringing. Daniel called 6 times. I ignored every call. Then came a text. "Emily, please answer. We need to talk." A few minutes later, my mother called. She sounded upset. "The bank froze some of the charges." "What's going on?" I simply replied. "You should ask the person who used my credit card." She hung up without another word. That evening, Daniel arrived at our house. His suitcase was in one hand. His house key was in the other. He tried to unlock the front door. Nothing happened. He tried again. Still nothing. I had already changed the locks after speaking with my attorney. Next to the front door sat a neatly sealed envelope with his name on it. Inside were copies of the bank statements, screenshots of his text messages, and the divorce papers he never expected to receive. There was also a short note. "You promised to take care of everything while I was in the hospital. You did. You took everything except responsibility. Now you can take responsibility somewhere else." For several minutes, he stood there staring at the papers. He knocked on the door. He called my name. He apologized. He cried. But I had already spent enough years believing empty promises. This time, I chose peace instead. Over the following months, the bank completed its investigation. Most of the stolen money was returned to my account. The divorce became final, and I slowly started rebuilding my life. Some relatives tried to convince me to forgive my family. They said, "They're still your family." I answered every one of them the same way. Family doesn't wait until you're unconscious to steal from you. After that, the calls stopped. For the first time in years, my life became quiet. Looking back now, I don't think losing those people was my greatest loss. The greatest loss would have been staying with people who only valued me for what I could give them. Sometimes the strongest revenge isn't yelling, arguing, or trying to hurt the people who betrayed you. Sometimes the strongest revenge is walking away, protecting your peace, and letting the truth speak for itself. Because trust, once broken, can sometimes be repaired. But respect is much harder to earn back. And my family learned that lesson the hard way.